Ayin Erev Shabbos Parshas Yisro Matan Torah. There's a machlekes whether to stand or to sit during Matan Torah. Chazanish says, you know what, it's important to stand, but you also don't want to show that any part of the Torah is more important than other parts. So make sure to stand up a little bit before, maybe stand up for the whole aliyah, so that we're not putting down the other psukim by standing up for these. One incredible Vort was always stood out to me. If you look at the luchos that they have in shuls, so sometimes they're round at the top, which, like Arlovsky says, those aren't tablets, that's the McDonald's symbol. They were squares. There were two pretty massive bricks of sapphire. Letters through and through. Remarkable, came out unimaginable entity. How were they written? Lochos Rishonos, written with the finger of Hashem. But if you were to actually imagine the words etched in these luchos, Chazal point out that the right side is all the ben odom lamokim, and the left side are all the ben odom lachaveros. You have to figure out what Kippur of Heim is doing on the ben odom lamokim part. The left side has far fewer words than the right. They're very concise psukim. It's all read together. Lo signav. Bam! That's one of the dibros. That's it. Lo yirtzach. Bam! Right? In the beginning, it's lo yelecho elikim acherim al ponai nu yicheshem. Those are full sentences, paragraphs. So if you want to fit a lot into a little, you have to make the font smaller. But if you just have big, bold statements, it was much larger. And Chazal say that there was an encoded message here, that the ben odom lachavera is not just as important as the ben odom lamokim. It deserves more attention. You can't say it's more important, but it's bigger. It has to take the limelight. And it's very easy to lose sight of that and to think, I have avodas Hashem to do, but Ben Odom Lachaver is also avodas Hashem. When the Satmer Rebbe came over to America with Yudua, he sat and gave a shir to 15 balabatim. They were all survivors, surviving together. And the first day he opens up the Gemara and he says, just before we start, Yankel, where are you from? And he said, town he's from. And he said, tell me about your family. And he said, I lost my brothers and my sisters and my parents, etc., etc. And the Rebbe sat there and he listened to Yankel. And when Yankel was finished, he said, you, Reb Shimon, what's your story? Where are you from? And he told him about his city, the beautiful city that's no longer, and his family and his friends. And the Rebbe listened. And by the time he was done, he said, Chavra, time's up. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Next day again, the Rebbe Viayel opens the Gemara and says, just before we start, you, Berish, where are you from? And he said, I'm from this city. He's, wow, tell me about your city. And he spoke about his city and his friends and his family and the horrors that he experienced in the Holocaust, the things that he saw, the nisim that he saw, the Yad Hashem that he experienced. And again, this went on for months. The Satmer Rebbe didn't learn a single line of Gemara. Just quickly, before we start, Yankel, Baruch, Moshe, what was your story back in Europe? After months and months and months, 5 months later, he said, okay, let's start. And they said, whoa, Rebbe, why today? Why haven't we learned until now? And the Rebbe said, of course we've been learning until now. He says, Rebbe, we haven't learned a word. He said, oh yeah. Until now we've been learning Daf Alef. You can't learn Daf Beis until you learn Daf Alef. First you have to look at Yidden around you. First you have to look at Klal Yisro. First you have to look at the Ben Odom Lachaver before you start working on the Ben Odom Lamokim. Maybe that's why we don't start teaching kids Gemara from Brachas. Maybe we start teaching them from Hashavas Haveda, Ilumitzias. maybe there's an Indian there because the Ben Adam Al-Chaverei is bigger. It comes first. I just wish that one shul would put up a set of luchas by the Aron HaKodesh and actually write out the entire Aseret HaDibros, just to show how tiny the right side would be and how gigantic the Ben Adam Al-Chaverei would be. May we be zeicha to connect to Hashem when everything we do, in all our relationships, Ben Adam LaMokim, Ben Adam LaChaverei, Ben Adam LaAtzmai. Ki heim Chayeinu ve'oirech yomeinu ve'oirech yomeinu uvohem lege yoimom v'loila yoimom v'loila Ki heim Chayeinu ve'oirech yomeinu ve'oirech yomeinu uvohem lege yoimom v'loila yoimom v'loila ve'ahavoscha al tozeh mimenu ve'alavim le'alavim ve'ahavoscha al tozeh mimenu ve'alavim le'alavim ve'ahavoscha al tozeh mimenu ve'alavim le'alavim ve'ahavoscha al tozeh mimenu le'alavim le'alavim. Good Shabbos.